All right. Welcome to Summit Talk. I'm here with Dave Johnson, and Dave is a husband, a father, and pastor of Center Church here in Adams Center. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ethan. It's great to be with you.
Awesome. This is great. Man, I've been excited about this. It's one of the things when I was getting ready for Summit Talk, I had a list of names of people that I wanted to talk to about this. And your name is one of the first three on the list that I wanted to meet with about
The
this.
top three. That's nice.
No shade to everybody else, but you made the top three. And so, man, I'm just really excited about this, to dive in and learn from your wisdom. I look up to you a bunch, obviously, as pastor of the church. And if anyone's curious, you can now hear Dave Johnson's sermons on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, everywhere you can listen to podcasts. It's all on there. Center Church. If you have more questions about that, you can go to wearecenterchurch.org. All right, let's jump into it.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, I wanted to ask you a few things and had a bunch of questions, obviously, here for you that I'd love to kind of dive into. But the topic I want to dive into today is kind of about just encouraging folks in this season that they're in. With this kind of first statement of just that God doesn't waste seasons. He uses them to train us, often in ways we don't recognize until later, right? And we'll kind of talk more about that as we kind of go through. A lot of people feel stuck in a season that they don't love.
Yep.
I can relate to that a lot in my life, where I've been like, God, why am I here? Why did you bring me to this job? Or when I was younger, like, why this relationship? Why did it turn this way? Or whatever it might be. And I think a lot of people can relate to just that they're waiting for their like real calling to start. Have you noticed that in your life?
Yeah, a lot. So I went to, this is the longer story, I guess. I went to seminary with the full intention of becoming a pastor. And right out of seminary, I was interning at a church who, as it turns out, was looking for a pastor. And I applied, and they said no, which was wise of them at the time. When I look back at it, I ended up becoming an associate pastor, and then worked for a nonprofit ministry, and then I ended up in sales.
Wow.
Yeah. So I ended up in sales kind of as a like last ditch effort. It's like I didn't intend ever to do that. Mm-hmm. I ended up there. I had been doing some teaching on financial management and became a financial advisor. But I had no intention of doing that. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not what was in my heart to do. Mm-hmm. So I can definitely relate to, being in stuff that you, and then, later on in the story, right, I become a correction officer.
Yeah. Nobody
I know graduates from high school and says, I want to be a correction officer. A lot of circumstances like that where you go, I didn't intend to end up here, and here I am.
Wow. So cool. Okay. So I want to go in on something you said there, where you said that it was wise at the time of them not to make you the lead pastor of the church.
Yeah.
First, why do you say that? And second of all, when they told you no, what was it like after that? What was the emotion you felt? How did this go down for you in God?
Yeah. It was wise for them to say no because I was really immature. Really immature. And the role of a senior pastor of an established church requires maturity. It really does. You have to have some experience behind you. You have to have some emotional experience, um, fortitude to deal with what that involves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just really young.
Hmm.
I think I also at the time thought I knew a lot. So maybe I was like a little arrogant. Like, hey, I went to seminary. I know stuff.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here.
So it was very wise of them to say no. It was crushing. I mean, I just couldn't understand at the time. It's like, why? Why no? I did everything I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And but the fact is I just wasn't ready.
Wow. And that must have been hard too, because you went to seminary, you learned the things, and even going to seminary, that's already a massive step towards becoming a pastor. Like doing the work and studying the Bible like that. In my experience, studying the Bible and studying music too, the more I studied it and the more work it became, the less I enjoyed it. Right. And so to do that much work, to step into something you feel like God has called you to do, just to hear no, I have to believe you like part of you had to say like, you guys are making a mistake.
Yeah. At the time I couldn't understand.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me?
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up becoming an associate pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really great experience. I remember I was ordained in that church, and the guy that spoke at my ordination service. And I'll never forget, his word to me was that Jesus came in grace and truth. And he said to me, Dave, you have a lot of truth, but you need grace. And that was so true of me.
Wow.
I was a pretty hardline. I don't know how to describe it really. I was, I just lacked grace for people. I was good at what the Bible said and what we should do, and I was good at those types of things, but I didn't really have a pastoral heart for people. And that actually led me to work for this nonprofit, the guy who led it was very similar to that. He was very, it was almost like works-based. Mm-hmm. Like you do these things, you got to perform, you got to do these things. Talked a lot about self-government, which was, music to my ears at the time. Yeah, we need to do the right things. Mm-hmm. And he ended up having an affair. Oof. So that's what led me into sales. I worked there for a couple of years, and when he had the affair, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I can't do ministry at all. So, so I went into financial sales.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So I relate to a lot of your story.
Do you?
Like a lot. I went through a time in my life where I was offered a position to be a children's pastor at our church we went to in Tennessee. And man, I was so stoked about the opportunity to do that because I'd felt like God had called me into some kind of speaking role. I'd been prepared for that for several years. I worked for, it wasn't a nonprofit, but it was a fundraising group. That
Right.
but it was almost a nonprofit in how little profit you got, if you catch my drift.
Yep.
Um, but wow, I really relate to what you're saying in that. I went through a tough time 2 years ago where I was with Christina's family, and we were all in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, at a cabin, and we were all talking about how hard it is to get volunteers for
Oh, right.
ministry and outreach events.
You've
Right?
told me this story before,
Okay, yeah,
but tell us again.
yeah. Okay, great. I wasn't sure. Yeah, so
Yeah.
and everyone's talking, and I'm just so excited to have something to contribute, and I'm getting fired up too because I'm really passionate about this. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it is hard, and it's so frustrating because, like, I know they have all this time. Like, what are you gonna do? Go home and watch football, and you want to go and eat some pizza and chips, and I just started going off on the congregation of our church on how lazy they were, and I think I said that too in front of my wife's entire family. And then my brother-in-law goes, Ethan, I think it would do you well just to get to church in the morning before everyone else gets there, and just start setting up some chairs. And then while you're setting up the chairs, just start praying for the people that are going to sit in them. And immediately, right? Like, like crap.
Yeah.
I've been arrogant and prideful, and immediately in that moment, it was this massive spiral of conviction from the Holy Spirit of like, I've been prideful. I
Yeah.
had no idea. It's like scales over my eyes. I had no idea that
Yeah.
was happening.
Yeah.
And so when you mentioned that it's probably wise of them not to give you that position because you may have been arrogant at the time. Oh yeah, like that was me to a T. Like I would literally watch people while they're worshiping and judge them because they didn't lift their hands.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
you think you're so good you can't lift your hands to God? So I really relate with what you're saying.
Oh, we're terrible.
It's awful. It's
Yeah.
awful. So thank you for sharing that. So then you went from, like a nonprofit into sales.
Yes.
And so sales was kind of like, at least in that time, like, was it kind of like a job that you were like on the way to maybe eventually being a pastor, or was this like a full detour?
Yeah, this was a full on I probably will never do ministry again. But
Wow.
in my heart I always wanted to.
Mhm.
But I was like, you know what? I give up, and I'm going to, make some money. So I mean, the first few years I worked 9 to 9 Monday through Thursday, like 9 to 5 on Friday, and then 9 to noon on Saturday.
Wow.
And I had my oldest, and when I first started, and then we had a second on the way.
Wow.
So when my second daughter was born, I was just working all the time, and I would come home from work, and my wife would hand me our second, and I would hold her, and she would, "Who are you? Like, who
Yeah.
is this guy?"
Wow.
She would just cry.
Wow.
So, yeah, I worked a ton. Didn't make a lot of money early on. Just worked, and we stayed involved in church. We led like a college Bible study and did some worship stuff. But yeah, it was definitely, we're on a different path now.
Wow. Okay. So, young man, dad,
Yeah.
baby now to like 2 kids at home. Now you're working a sales job. Like, okay, God, just earning some income. If I'm not
Yep.
going to be a pastor, I got to pay for the bills,
Yeah.
right? Um, what was that like through that season? Because I know a lot of folks relate to that in it being like survival mode when you
Yeah.
have your second kid, and time with your wife and time with God is just so like scarce. It
Scarce. Yeah.
seems.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that season like for you and your wife there?
That's a really good question. I don't know that I was really aware what it was like,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
I um I was just kind of put my head down and worked.
Mhm.
Um I mean, professionally it was good for me. I
Mhm.
learned a lot of awesome things
Mhm.
through that experience. I learned about running a business.
Mhm.
I learned about, building business. Um, I learned about leadership. Um, I had a really, really good first year, and I became a coach to other advisors
Hmm.
like almost immediately. Um, so I kind of quickly went out on a management track, and that management track led to lots of really good training, um, which like continue to serve me today.
Hmm.
Uh, I think at home, I was just not, I just wasn't present
Mhm.
at home. Um, I mean, I did the best I could, but I was not the way I had been,
Yeah.
you know.
Did you notice that while you were in the season that you weren't able to be as present?
I think I felt it, um, but in the moment, I didn't like. Well, what else do I do?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
Um, over time, I would say even when I became a correction officer,
Mm.
there was a kind of a short season where I really had to adjust again. Um, but I learned more quickly how to disengage from the work and
Mhm.
be really present at home.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Wow.
I don't know what to say about
Yeah.
that, but
So with your sales role, I'm assuming there's like mentioned there's a couple skills. You learn how to build a business, maintain a business. Um, you mentioned some other things I'm forgetting right
leadership
now.
stuff. I learned leadership stuff,
S-
management stuff.
Mhm.
I learned perseverance.
Mhm.
Um, that's one of the great benefits of a sales job. Um, I had to make 100 phone calls to set 2 appointments to make one sale.
That's brutal.
Yeah,
That's brutal. So you hear no, not just more often, but most of the time.
most of the time. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and you know that that does something to you. Um, I remember along with that, I remember we were like dirt poor. Not dirt poor. It really wasn't that bad, but we were very poor. And we could never buy a car
Mm.
for the first several years I was in business. I remember showing up to a client's house, and I'm going to talk to them about managing their finances in this old beat up car that, sounded like a tank. Um, and, honestly, the guy met me at the door, looked at my car and said, "What are you going to tell me?"
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and like stuff like that was brutal.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
That's hard. So I'm in sales too.
yeah,
And so I hear a lot of no's, not that many. I don't have the same role as what that is.
yeah.
Luckily to every yes I get, I hear 2, sometimes 3 no's. So it's way less, like so much less.
Awesome.
Which is great for me mentally because I can't handle that. No's hurt my feelings. But with
Yeah,
that, in being a sales role, I'm assuming some or part or all was commissioned too to the
yeah.
yeses. So that's emotion tied to the no too.
Right.
So, just like out of curiosity, like what was that emotional toll like for you on a day-to-day basis, knowing that you're going to hear a ton of no's today, but you've
Yeah.
got to stay good at your job because that yes is going to pay for your bills.
Right. I think early in my career, it didn't phase me.
Wow.
Um, the longer I was in it, the more of a toll it took.
Hmm.
So, so early on, I could handle no's really well. I would just go, okay, I'm closer to the yes. I'm
Mhm.
like, if that's a no, I'm closer to the next one. And I don't know how that has carried through my life in particular, but I generally have tried to have that perspective in life that if this isn't it, okay, I'm closer.
Hmm.
Like this season that I'm in right now, I'm the next thing is coming.
Yeah,
Excuse me. So,
that's good.
um, but it did take a toll. Like my career in sales really took off. Like I started making money, which was great. um, and uh, I kind of advanced in management roles and then eventually became a sales director.
Hmm.
I moved to the corporate office in Minneapolis and
Wow.
I was there. I thought I was going to be there for a long time, but I had a chance to come back to the New York State and um, had another role leading marketing for advisors basically in the entire Northeast.
Wow.
And then, um, so the trajectory of my career was like, what do you call that? The J curve,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
was just really going great. Emotionally, though, spiritually, I'd say I grew more and more distant from like, why am I doing this?
Mm.
It became about I'm making money.
Wow.
Um, and it was empty.
Yeah.
That the pursuit of success, pursuit of money, it became empty because the things that were important in my life um, were going by the wayside.
Wow.
So I think that answers your question.
Yeah. No,
um,
that's great.
uh, yeah, I I reached a point when I was in Minneapolis where I was so far from God.
Hmm.
Um, it was
Hmm.
just horrible.
Hmm.
And then coming back to New York State, I had kind of a personal revival
Hmm.
where the Lord rescued me again.
Wow.
um, so I'm grateful for that.
Wow.
Um,
So
yeah.
you are rapidly ascending in your career and you're like shooting up really, really quickly. And probably for you in this time, if I'm like assuming here, you had 2 kids, right? And like
I had the third by then.
you're
Yeah.
the third, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So you're jumping so high in your career. You're a dad of so many kids, and now you got this opportunity to come back to New York,
Yeah.
and you have this, you said the personal revival with God.
Yeah.
Um, what was the moment, if you don't mind sharing, what was that moment with God when you realized, like, I'm back?
Okay. So this is very personal. um, that, like I said, the pursuit of success was so empty for me.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember going to a friend's property out in the woods. I had spent a lot of time in his woods before, um, but I kind of went there with the intention of killing myself.
Wow.
Um, Felt like I'd made so many mistakes. Life was empty. Um, and in the middle of the woods, the Lord spoke to me
Wow.
and, said, "It's not over. It's not over."
Wow.
Um,
Thank God.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I still struggled, and um, I still often struggle with that melancholy, that kind of feeling.
Hmm.
Um, it's really gotten better over the years, but I'm trying to think. That was probably uh, 15, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
Um,
No kidding.
yeah, yeah,
And so that was kind of the block in the road from the path you were headed on.
yeah.
Not just like a concrete wall, but almost a trampoline back in the opposite direction.
Yeah, there was another encounter I had like shortly after the experience I had with the Lord in the woods.
Mm.
I went with some friends. We went out to Applebee's, and we're having dinner, and it's a husband and wife, and she like begins to pray for me at the dinner table. The guy is like eating dessert, and he says, "I'm just going to eat this really slow while you're praying." And she just prayed that God would enter into my past experiences, and she asked me, like, what do you think the Lord was saying in those moments? And I felt like the Lord was speaking through that whole prayer time that I wasn't disqualified.
Wow.
There was still a future and still hope for me.
Wow.
And yeah, so I would call that like some inner healing that took place.
Yeah.
Um, some people are skeptical of what that looks like, but that was my experience.
That's
So,
incredible. Thank you
yeah,
for sharing that.
yeah,
That's super helpful to hear. Because one of the things I was thinking about as I was getting ready for this is this analogy of the seed being planted in soil. Um, obviously we know that the Bible talks about how God scatters the seed and sometimes it falls on good soil and rocky soil and sometimes a raven snatches it up and
yeah,
whatever it is. But I was thinking about this analogy of the seed and how when that seed is first planted in the dirt, it's simple, but when it's planted in the dirt, that seed can't really see the light, can it? Like it's dark and it's disgusting. It's dirty and it's wet and slimy and icky and ucky. I just said the word ucky. But it's dark where it's placed,
yeah,
but it grows.
yeah. So I can't remember where it is, but there's a verse that actually says, like, unless a seed falls to the ground and dies, it can't bear fruit.
Wow.
And the whole idea of, if we weave it together, right? The whole idea of ministry future for me,
Yeah.
like, really died.
Wow.
It was dead in the ground,
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
And I think that probably happens for most people throughout their life. Most people will go through seasons of that. My season of death, so to speak,
Yeah.
was just really long.
Yeah.
It was a long period,
Yeah. If you
with
were to
lots of different detours. But
if you were
yeah,
to quantify that in years, like roughly how long do you think it took before you felt revitalized in your path?
probably like 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Not quite as bad as Moses, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it could
So
always be worse, right?
it could be worse. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Or like Abraham, like 100 years old before you have
Right.
a
Right.
kid. Wow. Okay. Well, holy smokes, this is great. That's incredible, because I really think that there's a lot of folks that are wondering, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? What is next for me? And it's hard because you don't always get that clear direction when you want it.
Right.
And the next step towards where God is bringing you sometimes doesn't look like it's a step towards.
Right.
Sometimes it looks like a detour.
Yeah.
Like, I know in my life, I've shared this maybe with you before. I know I did another podcast about this, but I interviewed for 18 different job promotions with the company I worked for, and I heard no 18 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like, God, what do I got to do to be good enough for these people?
Right.
What book do I have to read to be what they're looking for? And, I was just an arrogant little who thought he had it all. But that's another story for another time. But I think it's important for a lot of folks to hear, like, kind of where you came from to get to where you are now, right?
Yeah.
So, moving forward a little bit more, somewhere there, you transition into corrections,
Yes.
right? So you move back to New York. How soon is that transition into corrections?
So, I returned to New York State in 2008, and if people went back and did a little Google search, they'd find that 2008, 2009
Recession.
were really bad
They were rough.
in the financial markets. So I had been in one role and been promoted again, to a fantastic job. I was working in just New York and New Jersey and making boatloads of money. I bought a house. I bought a brand new car. And I think it was the day after Thanksgiving, I was laid off.
Wow.
So I was laid off with, 9 other people across the country because of the recession. So I went back into building a financial planning business again, and I could not stand it. I hated every moment of it. It was
Wow.
terrible.
Wow.
And the issue for me was trust, right?
Okay.
So people at that time, because, people were losing money in their 401k plans and their retirement accounts, and they just did not trust financial advisors. So eventually I, left that business. I became a program manager for a health planning organization. That company was grant funded, and it was a little insecure. So I was looking for what's a secure job? What's something I could do that was, I wasn't going to lose my job.
Right.
And so I had a friend who said, "Oh, you should become a correction officer." Okay, I'll take the test. And my brother had been in law enforcement, and so there was kind of a little similarity. And I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And I did that. And early on, I was actually proud to have kind of moved in that direction. I was, I felt good about it, but it did change me. I became angry. I became bossy. I mean, the bossiness was work related, right? You have to tell people what to do, um, and and you have to do it firmly.
Yeah.
Um, but that it changed me. It's a very well. Early on, somebody asked me, "So how's the job?" I said, "It's draining physically. It's soul sucking, and it's a very difficult job."
Really selling
Oh yeah,
it.
the money's great, but it's terrible.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Wow.
uh,
Okay. So jumping into this then,
yeah,
this is post revival,
yeah,
right, with the Lord. What was your relationship with God like when you're jumping into corrections then?
yeah. Um, so at the time I moved into corrections, I was an elder in a church.
Hmm.
Um, and still super active, even more involved than I had been in many years.
Mhm.
I was preaching on occasion. My relationship with the Lord was good, like good. It's it's gotten better since then, but it was good at the time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Wow. Okay. So where I'm going with this is, you did a lot in sales, and obviously you saw so much success there, and you said you've got a lot of leadership skills and, growing a business type
yep,
skill set there. And then going to corrections too, you said it's changed you in certain ways, and maybe more bad than good.
yeah,
But I'm sure inevitably somewhere there you've kind of learned and you've seen the depth of the worst of humanity, right?
yes.
And so, is there some part of you that's grown in, like, whether it's like compassion or like emotional control or even like humility too?
Um, one of the things I would say um, I learned was to firmly stand against evil,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Um,
Wow.
to take a stand against um, evil. That's not to say that incarcerated individuals are evil.
Hmm.
It's just to say that there are times when um, incarcerated individuals act evil,
Wow.
and
Wow.
you have to stand against it. And so that's translated into my work as a pastor,
Mm.
where I would like firmly stand against evil action.
Yeah.
Um, I think I've grown um, in my compassion for people. Um, I've had many, many conversations with incarcerated people who are, they just made stupid mistakes in life, and they ended up where they are.
Hmm.
And it helps me to realize, hey, I could be there too.
Wow.
I've made dumb mistakes. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Because you kind of feel like, for us that are not incarcerated, it kind of feels like, well, as long as I'm a good person, I'm probably never going to be there. But in reality, if you let yourself go,
right.
kind of anyone's trapped to it,
Yeah.
right? So I wanted to ask you, with all the things that you've done up until now, because now you are full-time pastor.
Yay.
Congrats. You
Yes.
made it. From the very beginning where, you were preparing for this from seminary into taking all the roles and jobs that you ran and had, acquiring the many different skills from everything that you've done until now. Are there times now that you are pastor that you're doing something and you're thinking, man, I first got this skill from
Oh yeah.
before?
Yeah. In fact, I can't remember. Recently, I was sharing with somebody. I can't remember who it was now. I can't remember what the circumstance was that led to it. But I was sharing a skill that I had learned in management training, in how to have a conversation with somebody, a difficult, hard conversation. On a frequent basis, I am using what I learned in sales around situational leadership, which was super powerful, effective. I use these skills all the time, all the time. I think my work in corrections was less like forming in what I currently do. Other than I do have this sense that the combination of compassion and firm resistance against evil is really important to my role as a pastor. Wow. One of the jobs of an elder in a church is to stand against false teaching. And so that's important to my work. To resist people who engage in false teaching, or who who are like wolves in sheep's clothing that come into the church.
Wow.
So to defend the flock, right? There's a lot of the similar mentalities that I learned in corrections.
Yeah. So it's all kind of, in one way or another, led you to where we are today.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you were to, how do I say this? If you were to be standing in front of someone that's coming to you like, Dave, I feel like I'm in the wrong season. Like, this boat's not for me. I don't know how I got here. I must have blacked out for 2 years, but I'm in this job, I'm in this relationship, I'm in this state, I'm in this whatever it might be. What would you say to someone who feels like they're in the wrong season right now?
First, I would say, I get it. Right? I feel where you are at. I feel that. And I've been there for long seasons. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is, you're one step closer. You're one step closer to whatever it is that God wants you to be operating in. So I just did this series on abiding in the vine from John 15. And one of the things I really took comfort from myself was where it says that in the early part of John 15, Jesus lifts up the branch that is not bearing fruit. Commentators sometimes say that means they're taken away. But the first definition of the word is to lift up. If God is the vine dresser, he is the gardener, he's paying close attention to those people who are just not feeling fruitful. They're feeling like they're in the wrong place. God pays special attention to them. He lifts them up. And his intention is that they would bear fruit. So there's hope for somebody who is feeling like they're in a season that's really frustrating. We feel like you're in the wrong place. God can reposition you. You just have to be patient on what he's doing.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that's a good word, because it's encouraging to me, because one of the things that you shared too is that if you abide in him, you stay in him, You're a part of his true vine. He is the vine dresser. And so those who are in him will produce fruit. It's
Yes.
not if,
Right.
right? Which for me is a big concern. Like when I'm going about my day at work or with my family or at church on Sunday, like God, please let my work be fruitful because I want to do good. I
Yeah.
want to be good at the things that I do. I don't want to be tossed in the fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it brings peace to me knowing that as long as I stay in him,
Yes.
I will produce fruit.
Yep.
It's like a promise.
It is the promise of abiding, right?
Right.
You will bear fruit. If you stay in him, and he's in you and his word is in you, if you stay in him, you will bear fruit.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's a beautiful promise, right?
It is.
So, okay. Just like if you're looking to give advice to somebody else too,
Yeah.
right? How would you recommend someone could stay faithful when the work feels unrelated to the calling?
Yep. I would say learn what you can from what it is that you're in. So what are the skills that you can acquire in the midst of, something that you don't like doing? What are the skills that you can develop, grow in? What are the experiences that will inform your calling? And maybe you don't even know what that is. Maybe you don't know how they're gonna impact your calling, but grow in whatever experiences you're in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard someone tell me once, be a sponge. There's always something to be learned from wherever you're at.
Yeah.
You're not perfect at everything, always. There's
Right.
always something that you can learn, whether it's from someone that even if you don't like them, right? Sometimes it's your spouse, sometimes it's a teacher or mentor, or a coach or something, but your boss. But to be a sponge.
Yeah.
And soak up what's around you. Try to filter out the bad.
Yeah.
Because at least in my line of work, there's certainly a lot of bad in sales, no doubt. But yeah, that's really good advice. It's actually stuff that I was smiling because it's stuff I was like preparing to go into next, right? I think our shared encouragement for the listeners is just that the season that you're in isn't random.
Right.
It's rehearsal, preparing you for what God is leading you into.
Yeah.
And so, again, every step of the way may not always look like it's a stepping stone towards the direction that you're headed, but that's just because you can't see the full picture.
Right.
Zoomed out, it's a clear, obvious path. But because you're in it, you can't look up to see what's coming in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
The other encouragement I would give around that is to be as present as you can in the moment that you're in. And by present, what I mean is, be engaged with your relationships with your family, be engaged with your coworkers, be there and not so much about what God is doing in the future, right? Be like, what is God doing right now in your life? And don't constantly be thinking, how does this impact my future? God is going to work that out. That's the story of my life. He works it out. And I wouldn't want to wish away the experiences that I've gone through.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's really good. As we close, I want to invite everyone to reflect on just a few questions. First one being, who am I becoming? Who are you becoming in the season that you're in? Question number 2, what is this season teaching me? What is God trying to teach me through what I'm going through right now?
Yeah,
or what you're going through right now? And then lastly, what am I to be grateful for? Look around in your life when you wake up in the morning, if you're anxious or stressed, or if you just need to think about some things that make you feel good. What are you grateful for? What should you be grateful for? Write those things down. Thank you for listening to Summit Talk. This is our time with Dave Johnson. Again, you can find him online. We're doing recordings of the sermons every week now. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. I think Amazon does podcasts. Anywhere you do podcasts, you can check us out there at wearecenterchurch.org. Any closing thoughts, Dave?
Thank you, Ethan. It was great.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks.